I started playing chess back in 2020 at the start of the coronavirus pandemic, right back in the day. I had a lot of fun playing chess during that time. I spent a lot of days playing chess. Got way too into it, right? It was just super competitive every single day. Tons of rapid and blitz games online. More than I should have, really. I was studying for exams at the time, and probably my grades suffered as a result, right? Um, I got really into chess. I stopped playing chess probably about 2 years ago. I say that every so often I would do like a puzzle or I would play some blitz, right? But I've not been properly playing chess in about 2 years, and I'm bored of it. I want to play some chess. It got to like 12 p.m. last night. 12 p.m. It got to midnight last night, right? It got to about midnight, 1 in the morning. Hopped on Lee Chess, played a few games, really enjoyed it, had a good time. And I was thinking, why why don't I play chess more? Right, I like it. It's a good fun game. Um, yeah, let's play some chess. Let's do it. Cool, we're in. It's puzzle time. So puzzle one here, being told that there might be some sort of checkmate going on. What am I noticing? I see a king, right, who is being blocked off by my rook up the top here. If I'm thinking about where that king can go, first move I'm thinking of obviously is here, right? To put the king into a check. Obviously the king can't flee that check upwards, right? Let's think about it. So if I do that, the king can go only one square, which is here, right? Yep. And then if I bring this rook along here, the king who is here can't go back onto this file because of the rook. He's in check, so he'd have to move. So let me run through this again. Check, king goes here. If I was to swing this rook over, he'd probably go here at that point. And then I think I can bring this rook along. And at that point, the king is in big trouble. He can move this rook along to block it, but I can just take that rook. Pawn guards my rook here, right? So I think it's basically going to be like this, right? So I play my rook up here, the king comes down here, rook 1 comes along here. Again, the only square the king can go to is this one. I then bring this rook along, this rook can come and block, and I take that rook, and then the king is stuck because he can't go anywhere here because of my rook. He can't come towards in any way because of my king. That's checkmate, I think. Let's see. So here, 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 here. Beautiful. Oof, extra hard. 50 points for an extra hard puzzle. Excellent. There you go. Checkmate. Cool. So this is puzzle 2. What's happening here? I'm just going to speed this part of the video up, right? Because I was just sitting there yapping my head off about how hard this puzzle was. I was just complaining like an absolute baby. Look at this simpleton sitting there trying to figure out what to do like the idiot that he is, right? This is a chess puzzle that grandmasters could solve at the age of 2. And this absolute fool is just sitting there struggling, blinking very quickly and not knowing how to do chess puzzles that are easy and really simple. No, don't do that. That's stupid. That's really stupid. You just figure it out. It's so simple, man. Just figure the puzzle out. Figure the puzzle out. Unbelievable, unbelievable. I might take a hint on this one because I'm just completely missing something obvious, maybe. What's the hint? Okay, so it's a queen move, right? I can't figure this out. It's a queen move of some sort, right? So is it just as simple as queen here? No. Yeah. What about my poor knight, indeed? What about my poor knight? So is it instead like here instead? Same thing, but you protect the knight? Okay. we're off to a start now. I can't see this one at all. This is crazy. Yeah, so we did the same kind of movement, threaten, checkmate, protect the knight. What next? So maybe like here, just to get in the mix and threaten to come up here. Seems like a decent move. Okay, he protects that with moving his king. Now I could probably go here and check, right? The king may be in some bother at that point. Can't shift anywhere there. He can move back. Yeah, let's give that a try. Okay. Oh, that's just it. Okay. I don't know, I didn't see that one at all, I'll be honest. I'm quite bad. One of the things that I've noticed is I am, at least with how I play the game right now, I'm pretty good when there's like a one or two move sequence, right? Something that's pretty obvious and pretty straightforward, and there's a check involved. But with those kind of little plans that involve like a level of setup, right? I don't see them quite as clearly. So in this case, what I needed to recognize at the start is after that bishop moves, we can play a series of like it's not forced. He still has options, but in a way it's kind of forced, because if we move here, imagine he takes the knight, right? We can take back with the queen, and he's checkmated, right? Because his king's stuck in the corner. If we play here, and he starts up this whole bit of shenanigans, right? Or tries to take here, I can just move the king away, and then that threat still exists, right? Of taking this pawn and checkmating. So he still has to go for this whole plan of pushing. We get the queen up and into this square still, right? Maybe at that point you could try and take the knight. I take back with the queen. He moves the king there. And it doesn't look very good for black, right? Maybe he slightly can delay checkmate, but it'd probably be coming at some point. Interesting puzzle. Didn't have any clue on that one, really. Okay, our next puzzle here. Yeah, I'm noticing a very vulnerable king up in the corner, right? Some sacrifice shenanigans maybe on the board here. Some kind of sacrifice business. Let me just play through that in my head. So take, no, right? So that's naturally working. Problem is I can't get into like a square to do that kind of thing. I could play here straight up instead, threatening to take this pawn with the queen or mate, you know. So the idea is like come here, and then if knight takes, right, play here with the rook again. That looks like it could be something, right? Because obviously the threat if we come here is that we can take this pawn, put the king in big trouble. He has a knight that he can use to take that rook, but then after that's done, I can still just take with the rook and that threat still exists, right? I think that might be the idea. Let me do this. Yep. And then take back with the rook. There we go. Excellent. So you see that idea, right? I didn't spot it in the first puzzle, but because I missed it in the first puzzle, I was able to kind of see it in the second puzzle. And hopefully that will be the kind of theme here in general, right, as we go, is improve with some of these different aspects of the game that I don't know much about, or I'm struggling. Today's lesson seemed to be indirect threats, right? Spot an indirect threat, identify it, and take advantage. And I've reached wood 5 in puzzles. Excellent, I'm wood 5. There you go. I don't know how much that says about my puzzling ability. Okay, that's a couple of puzzles done. My brain feels slightly more warm now, right, I guess. Let's hop into a game. I want to do one 15-minute with a 10-second increment game, okay? That's what I'm going to do today. Okay, cool. Here we are. We're going to hop in now. As I say, I'm going to do a game that is 15 minutes with a 10-second increment. Just a nice slow, rapid game, right? Hopefully, yeah, I should not run out of time in this format. Here we go, up against a proud Indian ant. There you go. As I say, if I get slapped, I haven't played rapid chess properly in about 2 years, so excuses, I know. Okay, so we're off to this kind of start here. Just gonna bring some pieces out, I think, to begin. Yeah, go for that kind of business. Guess I can start to set this whole deal up. Sure. This. Probably got time to develop my knight this way, I'd imagine. Sometimes you putting it out this way, but I think in this case I might want to put it up here. Yeah, let me do that, right? And what's coming next, right? He's just going to keep developing with some stuff like here. He has blocked his own knight in, which is interesting, so it'll probably be developing this way. Maybe with ideas of eventually going like this. Nothing crazy yet, so yeah, I'll just do this. I'll bring my knight out. Nice and natural, right? Get my knight in a good spot. Knights before bishops, right? I think is the adage. Sure, brings out a pawn, frees up his bishop. Not really seeing anything yet. I could look to trade bishops. I mean, how strong is his bishop? How strong is my bishop? I'm not sure that's necessarily what it's about. What it is about, though, is this square here, I feel like. Because he now has 2 pieces attacking said square, and I have 1 piece defending it. And that is quite a big square, right? So I guess maybe I can put my bishop here just to say, okay, I'm fighting for this now. Why not, right? If we trade, we trade. Thing about it is that he will eventually have this move coming, which blocks my knight in. Means he probably will take over this square. I have the option to play this to try and prevent that business from occurring. It's kind of a waste of time move, right? If he wants to do that with his bishop, he can. Yeah, I don't care so much about that. Let's see, do you want to trade stuff in the middle of the board, is the question. Let's see. Yeah, brings his knight in. So he's just saying this square is property of, I don't know, the Ant Corporation, right? That's fine. That happens a lot in these Queen's Pawn openings. I could bring my other knight back just to immediately challenge this knight with another attacker. It does block off my queen's defense of the bishop, which could be a little weird. Could get into some weird stuff. Like if I go here, maybe you could try go here and just say after I take back with the king, you can take my bishop. Probably, right? I can take the knight and just say that's a really strong knight and your bishop's not as strong as that knight is now. Problem is I can't take with the knight, right? So if I take with the knight, I get forked with this pawn. So I'm going to say maybe bishop takes, and then if bishop takes, I can take back. Bishop takes, pawn takes, I can play here, and I get some good pressure going against the pawn. So, and I get that anyway, to be fair, after like this. I play here, he goes for this, right? Creates that kind of I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to rush anything. Although, that being said, this could be coming, which could be a little bad, right? So maybe... Do I have to respond to that now? If he does play this, I can then take with the bishop, right? Yeah, I'm not going to rush it. And actually, if I castle, my knight's not even blocked in that way, right? So I'll just castle, and I'll see what happens. So he does go for this kind of plan, right? So if I take... He's just trying to load up on this knight now. I have a couple of options. I could play queen here as an idea. I'm just gonna... I think I'm gonna take like that. I think. Could even start by taking here too. If I start by taking there, there's his idea of takes, right? Bishop takes. I can slide here to attack this pawn. Hold on. So let me do a little bit of calculation now, right? Because we are actually into a position that requires it now. So I take a pawn. I get a pawn. He can obviously take back, right? That's fine. No problem. But interestingly, if he takes back with that, I could slide the queen out. Yeah, it's getting a little dicey now, right? There's some stuff that's involved. Takes this in-between move of bishop takes or knight takes. It's a bit weird. I actually don't like it. I'm just going to try and chop down the knight with the bishop, I think. And just say, you get the bishops. That's what you get. And he takes back with the pawn, right? So now I can play here. Like this. And he might be saying that my pawn structure is a little soft after something like that. But I think I like having this file for my rook. So it's probably about an even trade-off, I would say. I now have two knights attacking this whole structure, right? Which is good. It's hard for him to defend that structure. His move might be to take the knight with the bishop, and I take back with the pawn. Like, how is he defending this pawn otherwise? Maybe something like queen here, we could see. Quite an aggressive move, that, getting the queen out so early on. Maybe a move, right? I could play here. He could move bishop or queen. Yeah, maybe that is an interesting move. Okay, but he takes the knight, and I take back with the pawn. So I now have a file, which is good. I have a file to work with my rook. I can also look at the idea of just immediately putting pressure on that pawn. The only thing I don't like about that is I might get into some sort of weird pin, right? So let's say a sequence of moves like this to prompt some sort of move, maybe queen move or... Yeah, I quite like this actually. Let's put some pressure on this this pawn while we still can, right? Let's do that. Let's just immediately say I want this pawn. It's loose in the middle of the board and I want it. Give me the pawn. Okay. What's stopping me from taking that pawn? Well, a move like queen here, right? Because then my knight's pinned to my queen. Slide my rook. Actually, yeah, it's kind of weird, eh? He might get some of that business anyway. That's okay. That's okay. So next plan, I think, is just to swing this rook over. Attack an open file. I don't like that move now, on reflection. I think. I don't really love it. For some reason in my head, I thought it would be more tricky for him. I like the idea, though, of this, and then like that and that, to get my knight back involved. So let me start that. plan, I guess. But I might need to just sort of accept that I made a bit of a boo-boo with this move and just do something else instead, right? Bring the queen back, maybe. I'm gonna go for this, just to see. Just to see. Okay, that actually makes me quite happy to see, because it means he was pretty frightened about this pawn, or at least relatively frightened, right? So that's good. Keep an eye on time here too. I've got 8 minutes. Can I start my maneuver? That's not so productive now. What about this and try and play for this? Yeah, I don't hate that. Could also get a bit of tempo with this bishop. Bring it into the game with a little bit of tempo, but I think I want to wait to push this pawn first. So let me try this idea, right, and just say I'm going to try and push my pawns. Does slightly diminish the strength of my rook, but improves my knight. So kind of like for like trade going on, right? Hoping in some vast future that I can make an outpost for my knight here. He defends it with his knight. I can increase the pressure with this bishop now, so this move does become more attractive, right? I think worth it even to play before this now. So let me do that. See what happens. And I'm thinking once he moves, I can put my bishop up in here and try and play for this. Which is quite an... Oh, it actually looks quite saucy, I feel like. Try and say I got a big outpost bishop here, right? You can't get it, you can't get it, is the thought process. Yeah, I don't mind that actually. It would create double isolated pawns, but it would create a monstrous bishop. Let me say that's the plan, and it's been the plan all along. That's the plan. We'll see how this one goes. We'll see. So he moves his knight out of the way, sure. I'm just gonna say that this is nice. We'll see. We'll see if it's nice. I'm not sure if it's nice, but it looks kind of nice, I feel like. Big bishop, big angry bishop, right? Big scary bishop. Right in your face. And actually, I don't even have to do that as well. I don't have to create the double isolated pawns. I could, but I could also just like take back with the bishop. And that sorts out my double pawn problem, right? Double prawn problem. 2 prawns, big problems. Gotta watch out for the prawns. Oh, okay, he doesn't even do that. Fair enough. He's trying to say he's got an outpost with this knight. So he kind of does. I don't know if he really does, but he sort of does. Might try and remaneuver my knight now a little bit. Do a bit of remaneuvering, try and play for something like this, just to kick his knight out. I think that could be a good plan. Yeah, I don't hate that as an idea. Just a bit of wiggling and maneuvering, right? It's the kind of game that we've got ourselves into here, is a sort of wiggly, maneuvery kind of game. We're sort of just moving pieces around in ways that are mildly threatening, right? We're shifting pieces around in a threatening manner, but no one really wants to go first. I want to say that I'm marginally better because it's slightly harder for him to get rid of my scary piece. I can kick away his scary piece with a move like this now, whereas he's a little bit more pressed to try and get rid of my scary piece. So I'm going to say that I'm marginally better for that reason. If he pushes this, I can play that. Takes, queen takes or something. And I have the file. He does go for that. How do I feel about this as an idea? Just to say that doesn't work. He'll probably play that. I can take, he takes back, he has an open file, don't love that. I can play here, he'll probably exchange. Or push the pawn one further, but if he does that, I can take the knight, so he has to kind of take if I play here. I think I like that a little bit more because it gets my knight nice and active. His piece technically becomes an outpost, but I can outpost another piece up here. Yeah, I quite like this plan now that I think about it. I think I quite like that plan. He might move his knight back. He might not even engage in this whole debacle. If he does that, I can maybe then play this. Okay, moves his knight here. So is that giving up a pawn through takes, 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 takes? What does he have then to justify that? Not quite sure. Maybe he tries to put his knight back here. But my bishop is fine anywhere, right? It can go anywhere on this file. So I'll take a pawn. I'll call his bullshit and I'll take a pawn, right? I'll say that's bullshit and I'll take this pawn and say I've won a pawn and that's good for me. I'm not sure what I'm missing though. Maybe I'm missing something major. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to get his own plan going on another side of the board. I don't know. But this is already much better than I thought it would be. I thought I would get blown off the board in about 3 moves. So we're winning. This is a victory as far as I see it. I'm having fun too. I like my position. I like this little sort of big scary wall that I've got going on of pawns, right? Nice bit of space. I got a piece up here that's looking relatively scary, right? It controls a lot of white's territory. I got the option to get a knight up and in here to do the same. Okay, does take back. I'll take back with the rook and say that I am chill to do that. Don't mind my position at all. What's good is I actually have this whole file now, really, in a way. I like that a lot. 6 minutes on my clock, about half of my opponent's time. Okay. He plays his pawn there. I can maybe get this maneuver going now to try and get another scary piece up and in here. Or I can just take more control of this file, but I don't really need to do that yet. He's not pressuring it in a way. So I will put my knight up here to say that it's going to become very scary in this square, threatening in this square. So let me do that first, and then we can always come back over here and take over this file. He might try and plop his knight back in here. We need to keep that in mind. He can't do that yet, because if he does that, I think I can play here. And, well, yeah, that is a fork of some stuff, right? But he does play that. Okay. What's the plan here? If I play this, he might play rook here to defend. And then I can play here to stop his knight getting to the square where it does become scary, right? So here, little fork. Yeah, I don't mind that. I have a passed pawn too, which is lovely, right? You always like having passed pawns. So if I play here, it does cut off my bishop's own escape route, which is something to keep in mind. But I think that's okay in this case. I think that's fine. So let me do that. Can also take another pawn is something to keep in mind. Because there is a pawn free. No, there's not. Ignore me. Let's play this. I like that move. I like the look of it. It looks scary. It's creating another scary outpost piece, right? Almost got there. Queen and rook. Yeah. 2 versus 2. I would have been in trouble. And that's what you got to be aware of, I think, as I start to get lower in time here, that I don't make just like one move blunders, right? So I think he only has one move here, which is like this. After he does that, I need to stop this knight getting here, because if the knight gets here, it actually is quite a good piece. So I think after he plays that, I'm not going to help him by taking the bishop, because that would get his rook in a nice spot. What I will do is say the rook's silly here, right? And I'll play maybe here just to stop that knight getting into that square. Could also look at knight here, saying I attack the queen, but what does that do for us? Queen moves somewhere like here. You can play like here, but then the knight takes. So I'm going to play here and just say that you can't get your knight where you want it to go, I think, is the plan. Let's do that. See how this goes, right? Let's see how we go. I mean, if you try something like knight here, I can put my rook up here and just put pressure on this whole file as well, I feel like. So I don't hate that as a concept. Still always got the move of just increasing my control over this whole area. So I've got moves in the tank. I've still got some time to. I got about 5 minutes of thinking. I think if he plays this, I want to play this and just say I got 2 attackers on that knight up here. Okay, pushes to try and do something down here. Got you. Yeah, maybe I play queen here, just to say after takes, my queen guards. I can look at taking as well, but then that just gives him, well, he's going to have that kind of runway anyway, right? I can look at here, saying takes, wins a pawn, but it does get his rook in a very nice spot, and he might be able to get his queen involved at that point and start creating some counterplay. Takes, rook takes, bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, queen comes here. It's looking very dangerous for my king, right? So what about takes? If he plays rook takes at that point, I can play here. So he has to take with the knight, right? If I take, he has to take with the knight, which I think is preferable to allowing him. But look, that I can play this, and then I'm attacking 2 things at once. So I think I'm fine to take this pawn. I think he might try and push this pawn first to say that the queen would then be under threat, but I can always take that bishop with the knight. Let's see what he does, right? Let's see what he goes for here. But I think knight takes. No, because then I can take here, and he can take back with the knight. But then I can take this pawn, so I'm still winning a pawn here, I think. It's a little less clear now, but I think I can now take here. Right? Should be able to. Let me go for this one. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Interestingly, well, no, actually, that's not a threat. But I'll take a knight where I can get one, right? I like having pieces. I like having more pieces, and I don't like having less pieces. Pawn's under threat. Can still look to double up here. It's looking okay for me, although my time is low, which it always is, which is really unfortunate. But what can you do, eh? What can you do? What can you do? I have terrible time management, honestly. It's horrendous. Yeah, so it goes for this. I was kind of expecting that. Could take rooks off the board, but I think I will keep them on for the time being and just say the file is mine. Although there is an interesting threat here with him pushing that pawn. Because then, but if he pushes that pawn, I can take, yeah, a little more complicated, right? A little bit more stuff to do here. So how does that work? So imagine push, imagine some scenario like takes here, push. I can drop back, and yeah, it gets a little scary, but I think I'm fine. And then obviously if I do something like this and he pushes, I can take the rook, right? Yeah, let me say that's fine. Let me say I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you and your plans. I may be a little afraid though. We'll see. I may be mildly scared. I'm scared of rook takes, king takes in here, but I feel like I can drop back, and if he goes queen down here, I can jump up, and I should be sound. There shouldn't be any issues. So rook takes here, pawn push, king goes back, queen comes down here, king goes up, and then how does he? Yeah. So he's saying that he can do it after delaying himself. I'm just gonna say I don't like that whole set of stuff. So I'm gonna defend the pawn and prevent that by playing bishop here. I don't know why he didn't take this pawn, he could have. I think I just left that one hanging. By playing rook over here, he could have taken that pawn. But that's fine. He didn't, so all is still well. Yeah, so he's trying to go for all this kind of scary business now, right? I can push a pawn. Start pushing a pawn. I like pushing pawns, right? Pawns are nice, especially when they become queens. Let's see if that works. If he is going to get me here, it's going to take some type of sacrifice play, I feel like. Some sort of wild sack that I'm just not aware of. But we'll see. We'll see what he does here. Just thinking if he plays queen back here, I can maybe try rook all the way down here. Queen comes here, take the rook. Yeah. I mean, two rooks for a queen, sure, it's not the best, but it's also two rooks for a queen and a pawn that's high up the board. And a free pawn. Maybe I just gobble the pawn. If he plays back here, maybe I don't go for this. If he goes for this, I can play this, and then that. Sure, so got myself some room. Let me push pawn again, and he plays here. Play this first. Okay, let's not run out of time. That's the one thing that I don't want to do. Take free pawn. I like free pawns. Kind of allows some weird counterplay though, right? Or does it? No, I'm just going to say I'm going to push this pawn. I think. He's got so many things eyeing my king in this direction. It's making me a little nervous, I'm going to be honest. I'm getting mildly nervous about that. But what's more scary, a new queen or big 50 things staring down your king? What's he doing? What's that move do? I don't know. Oh, it's terrifying. What if I take here? What if I make a new queen? I like making queens. Let me make a queen. What's he doing? Is he gonna play like here? And just smash the shit out of me? Is that the idea? If he does that, I can play the new queen to here. Okay. So if I go here, he might play... What is the point in this move? Here. I don't see it. Free rook, no? What am I missing? I don't know. Oh, okay, he resigned. I was terrified I missed something. I was horrified that I missed something. I was like, what did I miss? What did I miss? Okay. Okay, well, there we go. We got a win. That's actually quite unexpected. A win. Apparently, we had no mistakes, no blunders, or no misses, which is lovely. And apparently, we can earn Roblox gift cards. Hell yeah. Get out of here. Okay, well, the advertisement's there. We can hop into some post-game analysis now. We can get a sense on what was going on in that game, see if I blundered anything obvious, right? Let's do that. Cool. I have to say, having not played a single game of rapid chess in 2 years, I'm actually pretty happy with how that went, right? As you can see, 90.8% accuracy on chess.com's engine, 17 best moves, a great move, 5 excellent moves, 4 good moves. Noted that I had 2 inaccuracies and 1 mistake, so we can look at those and we can see what those mistakes were, right? Or what those inaccuracies were. My opponent played a very good game as well, up at sort of 79% accuracy. Good game, man. Enjoyed it. It's good fun. Let's get into the analysis. We can go through kind of move by move and see what's happening in the position. See when it starts to change. When do I get an advantage, right? According to the graph, you can see it starts very equal, sort of bouncing back and forward. At one point, he had a pretty big edge, actually. But it looks like kind of after that, squandered it away a little bit, and then it started going my way, just a little steady decrease towards my advantage. So yeah, let's look at the game. Got off to a pretty normal start here, right? Little queen's pawn opening business. Yep. Nothing too crazy, bringing pieces out. Apparently these are all the best moves. Couldn't tell you why, they felt very natural. Castles is best there. Yeah, I think here I was a little unsure between immediately trying to trade versus castling, but there you go. Brings bishop in. Ah, yeah, so it was recommended I go with this this queen idea. It was just a little scary, I don't know. Obviously nothing wrong with what I did, right? Still very even here. Oh yeah, okay, that was his great move. Okay. He castles. Is it considered excellent? There you go. Yeah, it was also rating the idea of bringing the bishop out straight away. If you recall, I ended up doing that later on in the game, but either works. Okay. Taking over a file, nothing wrong with that, right? Yeah. I think this did turn into not the correct move. Oh, that's just not good because of this, right? He can put his bishop here, and then if I do that, he's now got a pin, right? Is that the idea? Yeah. And that actually gives white some tempo. Interesting. So what is the idea here then? Just pushing the pawn straight away apparently is the idea. But it's kind of a weird one, right? Because if I push a pawn here and he takes, we both get left with isolated pawn structures, but I get left with double isolated pawns, right? Which didn't really appeal to me very much. Yeah, so there you go, that's a little mistake. His move's fine. Right, this was considered my mistake in the game for the same reason. Apparently this lets him get some stuff going here, right? I have to move the rook and he's gaining time. I didn't realize that was 2 pawns worth of time. I wonder how that works, right? Say if I was to play, I mean, is this like the best move here? Apparently just putting it back's the best move, right? And then best for white here. Don't know, let's resume the... Oh, sorry. I'm not great at analysing stuff on chess.com, I'll be honest. I'm just kind of curious to see why this is so bad for black. So he plays here. I put the rook back. What is the... Oh, right, okay. Bring the queen in. Bring the queen in, starting to look a little bit dangerous. Okay, apparently that's considered a 1 pawn advantage. There you go. I don't think there's any immediate pawn loss, but it's just like threats created, basically, is not the best. But he didn't do that. Got you. I then play this move. There you go. There's this rook here. Yeah, now this was an interesting part of the game, right? Because this is where I started creating this kind of outpost, right? And I think that might be why this move is so highly rated earlier on, for the same reason that you can create like a bishop outpost up here. It didn't become clear to me until about here that I could do that. So as you see, he has to move the rook. I get my bishop in. Not the best move on his end. Best move for me. Now I have a 1 pawn advantage that I didn't take. What's the advantage? Is it like takes? No, it loses a pawn. What is the best move here? I must have missed it. Overlooked an opportunity to kick a knight. Oh, it wanted me to boot this knight out straight away. Why didn't I do that? I didn't do that because I was afraid of this. So like queen here, is that the idea? Takes here. Is a mistake, because now I can go here. Is that the idea? Oh yeah, so you can trap the knight if he tries to do that. Okay. So that is met by here. And he has to go back like here, is that the idea? Or he can get his knight up and into here. How is this fine? No, how is this considered better for black? Sorry, because if I go here and he goes here, do I have to like what, sag the rook or something? Is that the idea? No. Oh, I can still kick it with my knight coming here. That's so weird though. That's some computer stuff. I don't know about that. Apparently my move was an inaccuracy. There you go. You made a mistake. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and that's obviously not the right thing to do, right? So this is good for me, because if he takes the pawn and I take with the queen, all of a sudden I have this big open file for my rook, right? And I'm controlling this file. So it's very good for me for that reason. Would have been better for him to take it. Now I can just win a pawn, which I did. That's an okay move, yep. And now we see the other part of my plan kind of come together, right? Getting this knight and up. Getting this knight up and into this area. And I get left with two very, very strong pieces that just kind of destroy white's position. Yep. Yep. That's considered good. Doubling up first is better. Okay. Yeah, he got this little idea going. Saw through that. Yep. 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 That's a nice little idea there. See, I guess he thought by pushing the pawn there, he was creating a lot of pressure on this part of the board. But I identified I could just take that pawn, because when he takes with the knight, I can both hit the bishop here, take the bishop, and leave my bishop attacking the knight. I wasn't sure which one was better for him if I do play this. Well, if we do go through the sequence of knight takes, I didn't know if it was better for him to take back with the knight or the rook. But there you go. End up with an extra piece now, right? I've got the bishop. He's only got these pieces left. So good solid advantage. That's considered best, yeah, just to create a bit of a battering ram on this file. Gets out of the way. That's considered fine. Go with my plan of just pushing my pawn and getting a new queen. Still considered excellent. I get a queen. I was kind of afraid here, I'll be honest. I didn't know what he had in mind, but he just resigned after this, and that's the end of the game, right? So good one, really interesting game. I like it when I can do fun stuff like that. That was quite a fun game, right? I got to set up that nice little outpost. I got to really improve pieces in a way that showcases why that's a good thing to do, right? And I didn't get scalped, and that is game one of Rapid after like 2 years of not doing Rapid chess, really. So we'll call that a win, right? That was my idea. That's the video. Hope we enjoyed it. Hope we had a good time. Catch you all later. Bye.